That's my radio show.
Nice.
Yes, Rock on Radio. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Caught Us in Midstream Conversation. Welcome to One More with Danny Coleman. I am Danny Coleman. That's my guest tonight, Mr. Mark Sacco. And we are coming to you live from Monmouth Music right here in beautiful Red Bank, New Jersey, owned by the fantastic Mario Di Bartolo. We are also sponsored this evening by the purveyors of these beautiful pastries right here, Antoinette Boulangerie, and the Downtown All-Stars of Red Bank. So, it's one more.
Excellent, Danny. Happy to be here.
How are you, Mark?
Fantastic.
Great.
Happy to be here. Glad you invited me. Really, really cool. I've been watching the program for the last few weeks now.
Okay,
so
that's good to hear.
Yeah, my buddy Charles was on
Charles
a
Larita,
couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
Well,
man.
Thank
this
you
is
very
great.
much.
It's a lot of fun.
And happy birthday to you. You just had your birthday the other day. So we here at One More, we wish to bring you quality programming every Monday. So if there's anything that you may want us to try and cover, please email us or email me, dcoleman.droyce, dcoleman.droyce, period, not D-O-T, period, dcoleman.droyce, D-R-I-C-E, @gmail.com. So, and give us your suggestions, and please keep them clean, because I don't want to get into a Twitter war. You know what I mean, Nash?
Yeah.
Right? And our Twitter is @CarouselArchUS or @OneMoreLivestream. You can tweet at us. You can. We will do anything. Please follow us or subscribe to the channel so we can get that dedicated URL and make it much easier for us to come into your living rooms or your cell phones, and you can see my face everywhere. Right? Who wouldn't want that, Mark?
I can't think of
I
anyone.
can't think of anybody either. Nash, who wouldn't want that?
I've been enjoying it.
Nash is in protest. He's taking his headset off.
He's not playing along. He's not playing nicely with the crew,
Nash
right?
is done. Nash is done.
Not my headset.
He's out on an island right now.
Right? So, Mark, you are a drummer,
Mm-hmm.
a guitar player,
Yep.
musician, writer. You've got all kinds of things going on. You play
Yeah.
drums for, well, I've seen you with Jimmy and the Parrots.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
with
I fill in
local
with those
band
guys.
Audio Pilot,
Play
right?
with Audio Pilot as well.
I know you've given drum clinics on your own or drum shows, like you did that one at the Ivy a couple years ago at the Ivy Tavern in Hamilton.
A solo show at the Ivy. I guess it's coming 4 or 5 years ago. It was. I took some of the songs actually from my new record. I had taken some of the tracks from them, those songs, and eliminated the drums, eliminated the vocals, went out and played live to them. I did it with a Yamaha DTX 950 kit. That's an electronic drum set, and I used some of the sounds and sequences for some other songs that I had done. So I did literally a one-man show from behind the drum kit. So that was a lot of fun.
It's a la Terry Bozzio. Or
Yeah, well, you know what? I think it was a little more involved than you would see from a normal drum situation. Obviously, because I play guitar, so I had a little more going on. Just from it wasn't like a drum solo all night. So there were songs involved, and there were some other cool little tidbits. Starting and stopping sequences and playing live along with sequences. So it was a really exciting night of music.
Okay.
I'm actually looking to do something like that again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Any idea where or when?
I think I'd like to do something like that, somewhere in Bordentown, like either the Man Cave or the Record Collector, one of those venues, something nice and intimate, something small.
Smaller. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You've also just made a big decision that goes along with your new CD, which is titled what?
It's Just Me.
It's Just Me.
Yep. It's
By Mark Sacco.
It's just me.
Yeah. So
Because let's face it, I'm the only person on it, so it's just me.
Oh, perfect. I once had a guest on my radio program on Rock on Radio that said, he said, yeah, I've called this my greatest hits album. He said, it's my only CD, so it's my greatest hits to this point. So it's my greatest hits. And that was the title of the disc, My Greatest Hits. But you've kind of taken the plunge.
I did.
You kissed corporate life goodbye and have become a full-time musician.
I did. I had a fantastic career at a place called Altered Image. Frank Ward, if you're listening out there, thank you very much. 24 years there. Literally started in the mailroom. Worked up. I was a vice president and senior producer in the organization. And over the summer, I just took leave that job and became a full-time musician.
At this stage in your life, that is A, scary, B, quite admirable, and C, just crazy enough to possibly work.
Yeah,
you know,
that's what I'm hoping. My fingers are crossed. I listen. I'm a numbers cruncher. I was responsible for big budgets there, so I sat down and worked it out. My kids are grown now. I have 3 children that are older. My wife's getting back in the corporate. She hadn't worked for a long time. And, it afforded me the opportunity to do a couple things that I really love doing. One, teaching music. Love to teach music. Right now I have drum students and beginning guitar.
Are you teaching out of your home or out of?
Teaching out of my home right now.
All right.
That play more with some people that I haven't had an opportunity to play with. Currently I'm playing with Bob Bandiera, doing shows with him, doing fill-in stuff with Jimmy and the Parrots. I'm playing with Ernie Whitemore. I just hung out with John Bushnell, and we talked about doing some music together. I'm doing studio session stuff. And I'm also, believe it or not, coaching baseball, which is something I love doing, and I found a job doing that. So I'm actually I'm getting paid to coach baseball as well. So
great.
That fits really nicely into that teaching and helping the youth kind of get exposed to baseball, music, those kinds of things. Because let's face it, when you're learning about music and you're learning about baseball, these are kind of things that, from an art form or from a physical, perspective, these are things that are going to help you later on in your life, how to deal with people, how to manage a career, how to do these kinds of things. So, it's something I enjoy, I'm very, very passionate about, and I really enjoy doing.
Great.
I'm not
Whoa.
even going to try to hide it anymore.
Here comes the homing pigeon. Great.
Every time I try to be discreet about it, so.
Oh, well, let's see what the note says there. Unless, Tom, you want to read that from back there, Tom? He ain't even paying attention, Nash. See, that's why I go to you. See, I tried to go to him. I got to go to you, Nash. You're the man. You want to read this?
I'm not much of a reader.
Okay, good. Oh, well, hello, Lisa. Lisa Newman.
Excellent. Hi, Lisa.
Is in our YouTube chat room tonight. Hello, Lisa. And Rebecca Murphy is on the OneMore page. Well, hello, Rebecca. They both say hello.
Excellent. Hi, Rebecca.
There
Good
you
to see
go.
you.
That's fantastic.
Good to hear
Great.
from you.
Great. Lisa tuned in, actually. My first exposure to Lisa was with Charles.
Oh, okay, great.
You stopped by that night as well.
I
with
happened
Charles
to be
Lorita.
here.
So, is this your first disc?
First solo album.
First solo disc.
I've been on Ernie White has 2 releases out that I played on. His Rude Awakening and his first solo disc, the Scenes from America, played on both of those. And a myriad of other studio EPs and stuff like that, all the way back to bands that I played with, in the early 90s, bands like Harm's Way and Walk the Talk and, some other bands that were just literally, just starting out, hair metal days, and a lot of that kind of fell off as soon as that whole Nirvana thing hit,
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the Aquanet, big hair went way out, and all of a sudden it was Nirvana and plaid shirts with the, flannel shirts and stuff like that. So.
And work boots.
And work boots.
That's
exactly.
the working
exactly.
man's.
And it was hard to play drums with work boots.
Well, do you realize that is the undisputed king of flannel right there? Nash.
Nice.
He is the god of
And the
flannel. Yes,
boots.
the god of flannel.
I was talking to my nephews this afternoon. I had lunch with my nephews, and same thing. They both had flannel shirts on. They both had the work boots. My one nephew, Matt, is in. He actually just got off tour. He's playing with a band called From the Archives, and they're literally did a tour. They threw all their stuff in a van, did a tour of the Midwest down through Louisiana, came back up through Ohio, and he just got back 2 days ago. So crazy stuff. But same thing, like flannel. It's back around again.
I was going to say, because when we went to high school, and I was a couple years ahead of you, same school, a couple years ahead of you, but, you know, I went to school looking like Nash. Flannel shirt and Timberlands, you know, before Timberlands were like cool, all the hip hop rage, you know. You know, and a pair of blue jeans.
Right.
You know, that was your dress, or a concert T-shirt.
Right, exactly.
Black
a lot of concert T-shirts.
Back in the day. When I had hair, it didn't look like this because you guys left me out in the rain. Sorry, I digress. I don't want to talk about that.
Don't sugarcoat it. How do you really feel about that?
I want to talk about that 'cause I don't want to lose the sponsorship. Not you, Mario.
Right.
So,
but It's Just Me is really, it's my first solo record. Okay. It's really the first time I you know, really wrote and put out something that I wrote. There's 12 songs on the disc. There's one cover song. I did a cover of Peter Green's version of Oh Well.
Oh, okay.
You know, from old school, you know, Fleetwood Mac days, which is a song that I've loved for a long, long time. So that's the only cover on the record, and I started writing it quite a few years ago, and I'm really proud of it. Played everything on it, sang everything on it. Bass guitar, drums, keyboards, whatever was sequence, you know, vocals, harmonies, the whole thing. Mixed it myself. Had somebody else master it just so I can get another ear on the stuff. Okay. But I'm really proud of the
Where'd you record it?
In my basement.
In your basement?
Yeah, I did.
A studio down there?
I got a little Pro Tool set up in my basement. You know, live drums, some sequence stuff, handful of decent microphones, and you know, got everything together and finally just finished it in the fall, and it was released January 3rd. It actually went live, so you can get it. You can buy CDs through CD Baby, download it. It's on Apple Music, it's on iTunes, it's on CD Baby. You can stream it on Spotify, so it's out there.
Okay. And do you have a website, or how do we find Mark Sacco?
MarkSacco.com, MarkSacco. Hit MarkSacco.com, and you know
all the links to all that stuff. Is
all
there?
The links are there.
Great.
Yeah, as they're coming up, I keep updating links where you can get it.
Okay, so being a fellow drummer, and we've had these discussions. We had
you had that radio show that I invited myself to,
which is fine. I kind of threw that out there, and you showed up, and Mark Polturak was there, Gary Breza was there.
That's right, Gary was there.
Who else was there? What other drummer was there? Bob Crosby.
Yes.
Bob Crosby was there.
Yep.
Joey D'Angelo showed up late.
Oh, okay.
Remember? So we had a nice discussion about, you know, the pitfalls and the rewards of being a drummer and what it's like. So why does a drummer by trade sit down and suddenly say, I want to do a solo album?
Well, you know what? I was kind of fortunate early on in my career that I spent a lot of time learning how to play guitar, like in high school. Okay. I had gotten to a point where I'd played drums since I was 6, 7 years old. And a lot of guys were just starting to pick up guitar, starting to pick up bass, starting to be interested in doing music. And, you know, right in high school. So I was like, listen, all these guys are picking this up. I had a buddy who was a drummer. We had a little, you know, neighborhood band. I was like, you know what? I'm going to teach myself how to play guitar. We're going to put our own band together. I'll be the guitar player. You be the drummer because you play drums too. So instead of having 2 drummers in the band, I taught myself how to play guitar. From early on, it was kind of interesting for me being a drummer. Later on, after high school, when everybody all of a sudden started to get really good on guitar, bass, and I said, all right, you know what, I got to get back on the drums. So I've always had an interesting perspective in that, playing a melodic instrument, and I went to school for music as well. You know, I have that melodic side of it. So for me, it became that songwriter part of it that was interesting, and that's really what brought me around to doing a solo record. It wasn't the drum part of it. You know, it was nice that I had myself to play drums on it, but really it was the melodic part of it that was really interesting. And there was a lot of stuff that was going through my head around that time, you know, that I really wanted to get out musically, get out lyrically, And, that's really why I kind of turned and wanted to do a solo record. And having access, the question came up a couple times, like, why didn't you have like an Ernie White or a John Bushnell or one of those other guys play on it for you? And it was just, for me, it really was something that I felt I wanted to do. I wanted to get out of me. It was just me, everything I was feeling, and I wanted to play every note on it.
Did you play the leads as well?
All the solos as well, yeah.
Nice. Nice. So did you ever take any formal guitar lessons?
No, but I've pretty much learned from every musician I've ever, was fortunate enough to play with.
Right.
So it's funny as a drummer when you sit back and you start going to the bass player, oh no, you need to be playing an E there, and they look at you like, what do you
did you ever
know?
notice that?
You're the drummer. What do you know? Yeah, no, you should be playing an E there, and you go to the 4 here. So
That was always my one of the things that was like bittersweet
Mm-hmm.
because in high school I had music theory classes and things of that nature, and I've been knocking around in bands since I was 14.
right,
So
right, exactly. So you know.
you can look at, and I would look at a guitar player and I'd be like, it doesn't sound right. What are you talking about? That's the right chord. What do you know? You're the drummer, exactly like you just said. But I'd be like, no, you're out of tune.
Yeah.
What do you mean I'm out of tune? Sure enough, well, you're right. I'm out of tune. Now, how come
Exactly.
I know that and you don't?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
But a lot of that theory stuff that you had in school comes
Right.
in real handy. Did you have to do like sight singing and stuff like that?
well, besides sight, we had to learn how to play the piano. I
Yeah.
had to, which I promptly forgot. Probably
Yeah.
6 months after I got out of high school, outside of a couple things.
It was the same thing in college. You had to learn piano. If you asked me to sit down and play a song, forget it.
Yeah, right,
I'm not gonna do
exactly.
it, but I
Yep.
know where middle C is.
This is for Mark.
It's for Mark.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll give it to Mark.
Mark, hello from Fred and Stacy Everett. Fred and Stacy Everett. Hey guys, how you doing? So good to hear from you. Glad you guys were able to tune in. They're Fred, awesomely creative guy. I'm going to throw a plug out Fred's way. Fred Everett. If you look him up, I think it's fredeverett.com. Awesome photographer,
Oh, okay.
excellent, director of photography kind of guy.
What kind of photography does he specialize in?
He does some very, very cool stuff. He'll be the first to tell you, don't ask me to take a picture of a sunset, and I'm not taking pictures of flowers. He sits down with models and creates these atmospheric type things that are just amazing, just absolutely amazing. So
Do you have a website? Fred, what's your website, Fred?
I think
Put
it's-
it in the YouTube chat room or wherever you're.
yeah.
Put it
Put
in
on
there
the
so
link. I
people
think it's
see it.
fredeverett.com. You can
right.
see he's on Facebook but
EVERE
really,
2 T's.
yes,
fredeverett.com.
yeah, very, very, very cool stuff.
All right. Excellent.
Yeah.
You can always use a good photographer.
He's unbelievable. Fred did all of the photography on my record.
Oh, nice.
And I'm starting to get some of that stuff on my website as well.
Do you have a copy of your disc with you, or?
You know what? I forgot to pull it out.
Oh, that's all right. Go ahead.
Stand by.
My guest is leaving. You gotta love live television.
That's the first part.
We'll talk about the pastries. You know what we're gonna do while he's doing that? We're gonna do the ad read for Antoinette Boulangerie because while he's getting himself settled, Antoinette Boulangerie. I can't even focus now. What are you doing to me, Sacco?
Listen, it's the Hurricane Sacco coming through. What are you gonna do?
Antoinette Boulangerie specializes in creating delicate and sophisticated works of art using only the highest quality ingredients, as you can see right there. Located at 32 Monmouth Street, right here in the heart of downtown Red Bank. They are a fully operational bakery with all of the baking done on premises daily. In addition to this handmade variety of croissants and Danish, Antoinette's also offers a dizzying array of traditional French pastries, macaroons, cookies, and savory treats. Find us at AntoinetteBoulangerie.com. Somebody help Tom. What's going all right back there, Tom?
Just go with it. This is awesome. This is awesome video.
I
Just
see,
go
this
with
is
it.
this is live, man. This is what's happens. Like, my radio show's live. The this YouTube show is live, at least right now. Anyway, Nash, you seem displeased. You all right over there?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Well, this is. Can we cut to Matt? Can we cut to Nash, please? This is the cover. It's just me. Oh, there's Matt, so we can't cut to Nash. But we're there, Nash? Okay. This is Mark Sacco's disc. It is a 12-song, full-length, I'm glad you did a full length.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys would have bailed and just done an EP. It bothers me when the bands today do EPs.
Believe me, I thought about it. It was on my mind because I had 6 or 7 songs that were completed for years now. But, the last 3 or 4 were really in, works in progress. And I didn't want to not complete a record. I was like, I had a goal. I wanted to get 12 songs on there. So
Okay. So take us through your songwriting process. I mean, I asked that question of guitarists and piano players and horn players that tend to write. And I'm not saying that you're not any of those because you're obviously a multi-instrumentalist.
right.
But you're known predominantly for drums.
Right.
So
Right, absolutely.
What was your thought process as you wrote the music and let it begin to evolve?
You know what? I've heard this stock reply. It's different on every song, and it really was. I mean, some of it started with the drum groove that I was working on. I felt comfortable with. The one song, "Sing to the Sky," was based around the drum groove. And it was a really cool double bass pattern that I had created, and it was kind of a warm up drill that I had done. And then what I did was I kind of built a song around that. Whereas a song like "See You Again" was built lyrically around experiences that I had in high school. So it ran the gamut. So I started lyrically there and came up with a melody line that I felt, and then started building chords around that. So
Nice. We have another homing pigeon delivery here.
Just keep coming.
Is this for? This one's on this side. Okay, good. Steve Meyernick says, "Rock on, brother."
Steven, how are you? Mad props out to you.
Steve Meyernick. I went to school with a girl named Diane Meyernick. Is that his sister?
You know what? I might be a cousin.
There you go.
It could be a sister. I'm not really sure. But he went to Meyernick's from Hamilton area. Went to West.
Went to Hamilton.
Hamilton West.
You and I both graduated from Hamilton West. You weren't involved in the school band or any of that other stuff, though?
No. I was very, very frustrated with the concept of the school band because you couldn't play kit. I wanted to play drum kit.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I didn't want to be the snare drum player. I suck at rudiments. I hate doing rudiments. It was never fun for me. And I'm walking around with the bass drum or even the toms just did not appeal to me at all. So
I get it.
And when I got to high school, they had the jazz band and said, "Oh, hey, you can be in the jazz band, but you got to be in the marching band too." And I was not. It's a shame. I would have, in retrospect, liked to have had that experience. But
one of the things
it was not exciting to me. I wanted to be a rock and roll drummer.
Well, that's where I met Mark. That's where I met Mark Polturak,
of course,
who is, and I think you'll agree with me, is one of the best drummers.
Absolutely.
I mean, the people that he's recorded with, and the gigs that he's done are just.
Yeah. He's one of those guys that has always been. In our area, in that Trenton, New Jersey area, has always been a guy who's been looked up to. And, even when I was in high school, I can't remember the band he was in high school.
Looker.
I remember.
Became Steel Breeze, or Steel Breeze became Looker.
One of them, but they would do the roller skating parties and stuff like that. I'd be a freshman in high school going like, "Man, who's that drummer, man? It's great." And absolutely. So he was one of those guys that early on, was an
Used to
influence.
see them at Brothers every Tuesday night was Dollar Pitcher night.
See, I missed that.
See,
you were just ahead of that curve. I was
Yep,
just behind that curve.
Yeah.
I missed all that.
So,
I was, at that time, I was after high school, 19, 20, finally, looking big enough where I could sneak into like Smitty's Kicks on Monday nights to go see Aviator.
Right, Ernie
at
used
the
to
time.
play there all the time.
I used to tug on Ernie's shirt, going like, "Hey man, let me sit in with you. I can play." Like, yeah, right, you can play, sure. And I would go back there week after week, and finally they let me up there. And I sat in, and it was one of those like, yeah, okay, the drummer's here, okay, great. And I started playing, and goes, oh wait, you can play.
You actually can play. Yeah. Well, I met Mark in the high school marching band, but we had a drumline instructor who was, him and his brother are both in the Drum and Bugle Corps Hall of Fame. So,
oh wow.
It was one of these deals where he was huge on rudiments and
Yeah.
accents and all the the stick work and
Stick work and stick height and everybody
oh, yeah.
matching. and stuff
Everybody
like
had to
that.
be you had to be like a robot. You had to be like a machine. I was never very good at it,
Mm-hmm.
because I was more like you. I enjoy playing, a kit. I
Yeah.
enjoy playing by feel more than anything.
Right. Of course.
Which is one of the reasons why my favorite form of music to play is the blues, because it's all emotion, it's all feel, it's all you can accomplish so much with just a hi-hat choke, where you can actually hear the room collectively go
yeah.
and
I agree.
so and that's just a feeling like you can't teach, you
and
can't explain.
There's a lot of validity, especially in blues and sometimes in jazz, less so in rock and roll. It's the space in between the notes, and that's the
the notes
hardest.
you don't play.
That's the hardest thing to accomplish. Sometimes it's harder to play a ballad than it is to play a fast rock song. Sometimes,
True.
Creating that space in between those hits and those notes,
And knowing where to fill and not to fill. And
where to leave that space. Yeah.
Tommy Moraldo said to me when I was 15, first time I ever went in a recording studio.
Mm-hmm.
He looked at me and he said, I got news for you, kid. Less is more.
Yeah.
I was not the type of drummer to overfill, but I was in there thinking, yeah, this is going down on 24-track tape,
Yeah.
I'm going to be, this is forever enshrined, and I'm trying, and he's like, come here, less is more. And that stuck with me since I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
And I saw Tommy a couple years ago.
Oh yeah.
And I told him that, and he goes, "Yeah." He says, "I remember telling you that, So, well, we have more. One more.
Yeah, my exercise today.
I'm telling you.
Good
What does
work,
this
Matt.
say? Oh, Greg Bassick says,
Classic Bassick.
Mark taught me everything I know on bass.
Oh, I don't know about that. Well, Jerry Monk was Greg. Greg was my neighbor. I was talking about the high school band. We were in a band called Scrumper Joe together. Played the high school talent show, and it was right after high school that whole thing fell apart.
Right.
But that was my buddy Jay Elchek, who he recently passed away. After a battle with cancer. And we sat down and said, you know what, we got to get the band back together. So Greg and I are putting Scrumper Joe back together, our high school band, and we're going to be doing a show at Mike Russo's place over at the Ivy Tavern.
Oh, at the Divey.
Yeah,
Nice.
we're going to do a nice little show at the Ivy Tavern, and it's going to be more of a high school reunion kind of thing, and we're excited to get everybody back together and do some stuff. We still hang out, we still keep in touch, but we haven't really played music together since high school.
Years.
So that's good.
That's good.
But Jerry Monk, who's a great bass player, is actually Greg's first bass teacher, and Greg's an awesome. He plays with me also with the John Bushnell band. Funny, I'm going to simple aside the Greg Bassick and I played with Jody Bongiovi. This has to be sometime in the late 90s, somewhere in the mid 90s. And, less is more. We couldn't accomplish that. We were hot dogging. We were the younger guys in the band, and we were definitely hot dogging. So that was a short-lived little run, but a fun time playing.
Jody could sing too.
Absolutely great singer. Great musicians that we met. Stan Steele, I think, was one of the guitar players that was in the band at one point or another, and it was a really, really cool 12-month run. So that was my boy Greg. Good people.
Jerry Monk. I'm going to see Jerry Monk tomorrow night. I have we have a OneMore Rockin' Happy Hour tomorrow night, Nash, at the Tunanogue.
Oh, okay,
And
cool.
Jerry does the open mic immediately following.
Is he there like every Tuesday?
No,
or is it once?
him and I are there the fourth Tuesday.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
We kind of team up. I get people to come out earlier. They hang out for the open mic. He brings them in late, so it kind of meshes really well. Jerry,
That's awesome.
and I,
That's
so.
good stuff.
Jerry's good people too. He's not just.
Well, I met Jerry obviously doing lessons, but it wasn't until years later doing the Ernie White Christmas shows, that I really got to play with Jerry. a lot of amazing talented musicians in that Trenton area. The Paul Plumbers, the Joe Zooks, and and the up and comers, and
Our sponsor, Mario
too.
Man.
It was again,
Tommy Riak.
Mario, like, people come in here, they have no idea what kind of a guitar player Mario is. He's again one of the unheralded, fantastic guitar players in the Trenton area, and now in the Red Bank area. So.
Right, and now he owns Monmouth Music right here in Red Bank, New Jersey.
Get that plug in.
Cheesy sponsor plug, even with the finger snap and the wink. Right, Nash?
Makes it less cheesy.
Makes that less perfect. So, all right, so you decide to do this disc.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now what are you going to do with it?
Well, that's
now
a
it's
that's
just
a
you,
that's
so
a
are we-
really good
Are
question.
we putting a band together? What are we doing?
So, there's a lot of plans in the works. I mentioned all the bands that I'm currently playing with. A couple of them are, they're really interested in doing some of the songs in that repertoire. So you're going to start hopefully seeing some of that in the coming months. And I'm thinking I'm going to do some kind of a celebration gig end of April, beginning of May.
Okay.
I don't want to call it a record release party because it's going to be 3 months down the line, but I'm definitely going to do some kind of a release thing. And we've had this conversation, and you've had the conversation on the show many times. It's like, where in the Trenton area do you go and play and put on something like that? There's really no...
The venues just aren't there anymore.
Well, it's not... I was having Rick Muscarella, another guy who I'm sure you know. I played together with him in a band called the Silent Choir a million years ago. Awesome vocalist. We were having the conversation, and Flip Laird, my cohort in Gunsmoke, who I forgot to mention before.
Correct.
We do a dual drummer thing in there.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about
We
that.
were outside. Ernie and Tommy Riak were playing. We were outside just talking about, like, what is it with this area? And it's it just hit me. It's like, in the Trenton area, you have restaurants that have a bar in it that have live music. So there's the priority. They're restaurant first, it's bar second, and then, oh, by the way, they have live music there. Whereas, you go down the shore, you go to Asbury,
Music is the...
you're here to play music, and they're selling alcohol, and by the way, you can get some food if you're really hungry. Right. So it's a complete flip flop of the priority of the venue.
I have a gig Friday night in Asbury, actually, at Langosta Lounge.
Oh, okay,
And,
yeah.
It's always a good time to play there, but you're right. The bar does. They have this nice dinner crowd,
Mm-hmm.
but they have that stage, and they count on once the music starts. The music is the focus.
Yeah.
Everything else, yeah, okay, I can get you.
Yeah, and in the Trenton area, they're moving tables to fit the band in. There's no stage there. There's no,
The food is their bread and butter.
It's the bread and butter. Yeah, exactly. So I'm considering doing finding a venue, one of the catering places or something like that, and finding out how much it costs doing a rental thing, and putting on a kind of a celebration of the disc. So
All right, good for you. That's what you want.
yeah, absolutely. I want to get out and play, and I've talked to a handful of people that are interested in being in the Mark Sacco band, so to speak. But I want to get the music out there. I've gotten some good reviews so far. People like it. I think there's some very, very likable music on it. There's some, melodies that people are singing, and they come back and say, start singing the melody of one of the songs and know the lyrics already. So it's really exciting for me that I'm getting a good response 3 weeks into it at this point. So I mean, it really is. This is the release portion of it.
Okay.
It's only been out for 3 weeks. So
Great. Where did he shoot this picture on the back? Walking down the road there. Where was
yeah.
that?
So that shot is Line Road.
Oh, yes.
Where
Yeah,
you go
exactly.
down,
Yep.
you hit Mercer Street, go down Line Road.
Right. Yep.
Yep, right by the I
the
guess they call it a
cornfields?
reservoir
Yeah.
back there. Yeah.
Alright.
Yep, that's exactly where that is.
I scared the daylights out of my kids one time when they were younger. I used to take them over there and sit in the on Line Road there and watch the fireworks. Mercer County Park.
Best place. It's the best place to see them.
And one time we brought the neighbor's kid with us, and we're sitting. I got my pickup truck there in the back, and we're watching the fireworks. And I made a remark about Children of the Corn.
Oh boy.
They didn't understand what that was, so I explained to them about Children of the Corn. Well, little did I know, I didn't even know it. But probably about 100 yards behind me was a car. And there was a guy in it, and all of a sudden he turns on the headlights and pulls up real slow and stops like 50 feet behind us.
Wow.
And it was just this guy was like weird. I was like, all right, guys, get in the car. Because I didn't know who this was. I don't want to let them know. I was like scared. Like, what is this guy? Like, so wacko? How long has he been sitting there, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But now my kids can't go by there without thinking about Children of the Corn.
when you were doing that, was there a lot of other cars there?
No, there was like 3 of us.
Well, now when we started doing it, and this was, my kids are, probably like, it had to be like 10 years ago now. There's cars lined up there now.
Oh, really?
They literally, they know.
Oh, you can see, yeah.
You can see because it's right over the cornfield, and it's right, I guess, maybe a quarter mile as the crow flies, to where they're doing it. And you don't have to deal with all the crowds. You don't have to deal with the parking. And for me, I mean, I live around there anyway. It was zip around the corner and I was home before the traffic.
Yeah, that's what it was for us. It was great.
Yeah, exactly.
So, again, if you're just clicking on, this is One More with Danny Coleman, coming to you live right here from Monmouth Music in Red Bank, New Jersey. Thank you, as always, to Mario DiBartolo for allowing us to bring this to your house every Monday, or your phone, or you can get this show anywhere and everywhere these days. So thank you all for tuning in at home and sending us these great notes, taking an interest in the program, and Mark Sacco as well. So thank you. That's right. My guest is Mark Sacco from Hamilton, New Jersey, and Mark is a musician, drummer, guitarist. You play anything else?
We talked about piano and keyboards.
Bit,
I know enough to find middle C and do a couple of chords.
I don't even remember that much.
Yeah, guitar, bass, drums. That's basically it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the meat and potatoes.
All right, and he has a new disc out, 12-track disc called "It's Just Me." You said you brought in another master. Who was it? Was it Suha?
No, I asked Sue how to do it, and he was busy. He had a lot of stuff going on. It was mastered in Hoboken. My friend Igor has a studio up there.
I'm impressed you have a friend named Igor.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. He's a cool guy. So he's been mastering stuff up there. Did a great job for me. I'm very happy with it. His website is in the liner notes. If you go to marksacco.com, there's a link. I did a single sleeve. I wanted to be as ecologically friendly as possible, use as little materials as I could. There's a great resource. Everything's online now. You talk to anybody who knows me, is I'm not a paper guy. I do everything digital. I take notes digital,
Right.
As a matter of fact, me and Tommy Rioch did an album together called Captain Analog and Kid Digital. So I would come in with all the sequences and stuff like that, and he'd be putting stuff down on tape. So it was a very interesting collaboration.
Captain, I actually wound up screwing myself that way, believe it or not, because I went to BB King's for BB King's in on 42nd Street, for the Fog Hat CD release party back in October. I was invited to review the show and so on and so forth.
Right, you were there as press.
And I get there, and I stopped carrying pen and paper around to take extra notes, and I was just using my phone. 2 weeks after the show, I'm getting ready to write up the review. My phone, the phone was only 6 months old, and I could use it for everything but a phone.
And so you went to your backup.
So I go to my backup, and it did not back up because I didn't have enough storage. So when I took it to the store, the guy wiped everything out on me, except for my contacts and my pictures.
Oh, okay. Well, at least you got your pictures.
All right, I got the contacts. I mean, you look at my Rolodex. If somebody ever finds my phone, they've just hit the jackpot.
Right.
There's like Steve Hackett's numbers in there, and freaking.
I can only imagine.
I have people who've called, So, but you ready, Nash? 1 minute.
Whenever you're ready, 1 minute.
You gonna give me the sign? Give me the sign. See, Nash makes this sign. It's kind of like a triangle, and it's read the ad, stupid, is what that means.
Okay. So you got it's a 1 minute warning to read the ad.
That's sign language for read the ad, you old man. Hurry up, will you? For God's sake, I'm in flannel. I am the god of flannel.
And it's cold back here.
That's right. Keep your eyes open, though, for the next charity compilation CD produced by the Downtown All-Stars of Red Bank. I got my copy, actually, last week when they were in here for sponsor night.
Yeah,
Magic on the Navasink will feature original works by artists such as Colossal Street Jam, Dawn Hopkins, DJ Pinelli, John Hathaway, and more. Magic on the Navasink is being produced to benefit the Red Bank Elks Lodge number 233 Veterans Support Programs. The Downtown All-Stars' first compilation CD, Bright Lights on Broad Street, was in support of Little Kids Rock, which provides free music instruction and instruments to underserved public school districts all across the United States. It's available on the Downtown All-Stars website and from select retailers. The Downtown All-Stars of Red Bank LLC is a collective of local musicians and performing artists bound together to raise both funds and awareness for charities and worthy causes through the immeasurable power of music. Go to redbankallstars.com or follow them on Facebook at facebook.com/ I'm trying to think of which way it looks like it's on camera. It's not an X, / Red Bank All-Stars for more information. And Dee Dee was in here last week. She gave me the newest disc, which will be played on the radio once I see my program director, who is out of the area for the next week. But I will give him that, and we'll get that on the air at panjradio.com, home of Rock On Radio. So that's where I am every Sunday night from 7 to 9. I'm here every Monday from 8 to 9. One More with Danny Coleman on the Carousel Arts YouTube channel. If you're watching, you already know that. If not, tell your friends about us. We'll be here every Monday. And tonight I have Mark Sacco with us. So you're semi putting a band together. Semi.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at semi. Yeah. Who have you played with in the past? I mean, I know I've seen you, like I said, at the beginning of the show, with Jimmy and the Parrots.
Yeah. So I'll take it chronologically because there's so many, but there's really kind of two things that became milestones in my career. One was I would go up to New Brunswick on Wednesday nights with a friend of mine, Alex Millerand, who was in a band called Roger James and the Beats. We would go up there on these Wednesday night jam nights. And I had met Glenn Burtnick, Tony Shanahan, Lenny Kaye, and a whole host of other, fantastic musicians up in that area. I had ended up recording percussion parts on the Slaves of New Brunswick record. Afterwards, I get involved in the Glenn Burtnick's Christmas extravaganzas as part of the Slaves. So I end up doing a bunch of Slaves gigs, and it was multiple drummers, myself, Arthur Skamaka, Jerome Tyus, who was, again, from that area. But it was a fantastic connection. So through that, I end up playing with Lenny Kaye and recorded with Lenny Kaye. The myriad of talent that came through that Christmas show, I grabbed the guitar and jumped on stage with Blue Oyster Cult. I played drums behind Phoebe Snow, Richard Barone. I mean, the list goes on. I played drums behind Patti Smith, Patti Smythe, as well as John McEnroe came and did the show one year. So, playing guitar and stuff like that. And a whole host of other extremely talented people. I played with Jonathan Cain, backed him and his daughter one year.
Okay.
The singer and bass player from Boston, Kimberly Dom, and for the life of me, I can't remember the singer's name from, this was obviously after, the whole Brad Delp thing. But it was just an amazing experience playing through that whole Glenn Burtnick Christmas extravaganza. And then through the Trenton area, Ernie White, John Bushnell, those guys, really, really fantastic bands I played with. The Ernie White Band, Unguided Missile, and then, backing the blues legends in the area and just about everybody else in the Trenton area, the Paul Plummerized and the Joe Zooks and, the whole host of other folks. So have had a very, very blessed career as a drummer to be able to back some of these guys.
That's a great feeling, too, isn't it?
It totally is.
I know I've only done a handful of high-profile gigs like that.
Yeah.
it's like the only time I ever felt like a rock star in my life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I share this with, there's a fellow who I went to see Saturday night, Rick Winnow.
Mm-hmm.
I do some duo work with him. I do percussion. He does it's a cover type thing.
Right.
And he throws a few originals in, which are great. He's got great stuff. And, he said the first night, he plays with Pat Denizio now.
Oh, yeah.
That's he's Pat's guitar player. When Pat does his solo things, he goes. So Rick was saying the first time he ever did like this gig was Pat's 60th birthday party. And Southside Johnny was there, and Suzanne Vega was there. And,
yeah.
There's just a whole bunch of Rod the Smithereens were there. A whole bunch of rock stars. And he said he's in the back room and he's feeling like, do I belong here?
Yeah.
And somebody came up and said, you got to sign this, and he says, no, I'm. And
I don't belong here.
And no, you belong here,
Yeah.
And I had that same feeling when I did a couple of those candlelight concerts for epilepsy with Eric Miller.
Oh,
and,
yeah, great.
We did that Sam Cooke tribute, and I'm in the back in the green room with Corey Glover and Doug Wimbush and Jeffrey Gaines and Denelia Cotton and Chris Trapper and Gary U.S. Bonds and it's like, then they came up with a poster and everybody has to sign this, and I kind of backed away. Where are you going? You got to sign this,
Yeah. I stopped doing that. I was like, "What? I signed? Absolutely, I'll sign it. Whatever you need."
It was something for me. You had to get used to it. I mean, that was like the night of my life. I had a blast that night.
Yeah,
on stage with them guys.
Listen, 99% of those cats, you hear stories about who's an idiot and who's not nice, but 99% of those cats are all fantastic people.
Yeah, especially U.S. Bonds. He's just
sweetheart of a guy.
Oh my God,
sweetheart of a guy.
What a great man.
And it's just, but it's they're all doing it. They're all playing. So are you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's a great experience. And I've learned early on not to go in those situations, frightened or timid. Go in and do what you do.
I think that's the key right there, and I think that's the key because I found myself thinking, am I good enough to be up here? Am I talented enough to be amongst these people? And then I thought, well, if I wasn't, I wouldn't have been asked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Somebody else has faith in you. Have faith in yourself.
Exactly. And I think that's an important lesson for anybody who's younger or anybody even older. Whether it's work, music, whatever it is.
Hey,
have faith in
you're
yourself.
never too old to take a chance.
Right.
I'm a perfect example of it. I'm taking a chance right now.
Yeah, like we said earlier, you kind of took the plunge.
Yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully, knock on wood.
I hope.
I'm feeling good.
So.
Summer's filling up. Things are filling up. So I'm excited.
Well, it's good. Yeah, that's great. And you got people watching you tonight here.
Absolutely, my friends. Thank you all for dialing in. This is great.
Now, you mentioned Phoebe Snow. Were you playing the same time as Dave Varga, who was in here a few weeks ago? Played guitar for her on tour?
She did. No, she came in as a solo. From
at the
Burtnick
show.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Most of those artists that I was talking about before, came in to do one song. One year we were at the Bottom Line. If you remember the Bottom Line in New York City, we did the show there, and Phoebe walks in, and we rehearsed all week. Here's the song she's going to do. Here's the song she's going to do, and it was like a week prior. Somebody from, I want to say Rick Danko had passed away. Just like moments,
from the band.
From the band, and she walked in and said, "I want to do this song instead," and it's like. All right, somebody else runs up on stage and happened to be like a solo artist doing something, and bang, everybody in the house band gathers back, and one of my fondest memories, I'm watching Glenn Burtnick, Lenny Kaye, Tony Shanahan, Phoebe Snow, and a host of other people just sitting around like nothing's plugged in, and they're all figuring out how to play this song that we're going to go play in like 5 minutes.
Like 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's some of the best gigs, though, man.
If anyone out there has not had a chance to see Phoebe Snow sing, find something on YouTube that she is just so good and so electrifying, and the voice is so powerful. It's like I'm just sitting back there going like, I can't believe I'm I can't believe I'm witnessing this, let alone being a part of it.
Exactly. What up? We have more notes?
We're going to need another notebook soon.
Is that in the budget?
Soon to be.
Soon to be. I think a teleprompter
Well,
might be in
I'll
order.
tell you this much, Mark. You are I've gotten Carrier Pigeon has brought the mail in before, but you have gotten the most.
That's
ever
awesome.
in the short history of One More with Danny Coleman.
Yeah, what episode
Shameless
are we?
plug.
Are we 16?
You're episode 16.
16.
See?
That's good.
Let's see. Waiting for tunes. Okay.
Who's that from?
Kelly Meyernick
Nice.
and Mayor Meyer.
It's Mayor.
Well, Mayor say they say hi and they love Mark. So does Steve.
Love those guys.
Steve's like an afterthought. By the way, so does Steve. Yeah, we will be getting to some music very shortly. Here on One More with Danny Coleman, the music comes at the end of the program because of the way things are configured. So, but we'll be getting to that shortly. And that's usually when Nash launches something over at me and hits me in the head. Says, time to go to music.
Time to go to music. Time to reconfigure.
We do have a great production crew here. We have Nash, we have Tom, we got Matt and Mike. For some reason, I was about to call him Charlie. I don't know why, but we got Mike out there. Of course, Mario, Karen is out there monitoring the social sites for us, and we have fun bringing this to everybody every week.
Yeah, it's a great crew. These guys have been great. A lot of fun.
Try to expose people a little bit to the arts. So far, it's been mostly musicians, but I do have some. I've got a husband and wife team coming up that are doctors, nutrition, and a chiropractor, and I've got
awesome. I'll turn Fred Everett on to you.
a photographer. I'd love to have a photographer
in here to
come
talk
in.
about some of his stuff.
Right.
He's really, really interesting.
dcoleman.drice@gmail.com. Did I spell that right, Nash?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. .com, I'm talking about. So, yeah, I mean, we're trying to bring a little more exposure to the arts and come get people to come down here and visit Mario at Monmouth Music and musicians or anybody that comes in. And Mario said, that make sure you mention that you're here because you've seen it on One More so that he can talk to you. And who knows where things go from there. You could walk out with a $10,000 bass guitar for only 13 cents. No, you can.
That I'd like to see.
Mario,
We'll
will come
work
up here
that
about
out.
2 seconds.
I could hear him.
Hey, he's
The sound I just heard was him falling on the
I think
floor
he
back
fainted.
there.
Yeah, Mario's gonna go. We'll get his car. You get his keys. I'll get his wallet. We'll be good. So, okay. So you've got all these different people you played with. Now you've decided to go solo, and thinking about putting a band together and.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, I mean, I don't think I'm really trying for a solo career. I you
did this just to do it.
Add in the myriad of things that I've, been able to do, been fortunate enough to do, and, still playing drums and stuff. This is just something that I really felt like I had to accomplish. I felt like, I wanted to get something out that was, indicative of me, my personality, and some of my experiences, as a musician and as a person.
Now you're sitting here, and you just said that because very few people. Again, that's another life lesson, so to speak. You set your goal, and you achieved it.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for anybody in that same situation? Doesn't necessarily have to be music. Who has something in their sights, but might not pull the trigger to fire the shot to take.
Yeah.
Anything that you can think of?
Absolutely.
I mean, at what moment did Mark Sacco say, you know what, I'm going to do this?
Yeah, I mean, there's, the first thing I would say is you gotta, you gotta dream big, right? You gotta dream big. The next thing you need to do is plan. You got to sit down and for me it was work the numbers. Can I be a musician full time? Can I work this out? So I sat down with spreadsheets and got the slide rule out and tried to figure out, can I pull this off? So that really
By the
helped.
way, dear, you're going back to work.
Yeah, exactly. My lovely wife, Dana. Thank you, honey.
That's look, nobody knows. That's why he's wearing that hat. 'Cause he's got this big knot on top of his head.
Beating me with
the frying pan, the rolling
frying
pin,
pan,
all those
exactly.
old cliches.
But really, it's like you got to have a plan. You got to figure out a way that you're going to do a step by step and get to where you want to be. And it's with anything you do in life, whether it's making a record, learning an instrument, a change of career path, whatever that is, and then have your fallback plan. Have that safety net. All right, you know what? I'm gonna go for this until the money runs out, or I get frustrated, or whatever it is, and then I know what my fallback plan is, what my plan B is, or what my right turn is going to be if that needs to take place.
Now, see, there are others who say if you have a plan B, then I can't remember the exact phrasing of what it was, but if you're going to try and do something, if you're going to try and follow your passion, if you have a plan B, basically you'll never achieve it.
Yeah,
because then you're always
I
saying
have a retort to that.
You're always saying, "Well, I can always fall back on," and then you tend to not take the steps you need to follow through on Plan A, so to speak.
If you're going to be successful, you need to take a chance, right? At anything you want to do, that's going to be a success.
Whether it's open up a business,
when you're young and you're in your early 20s and you don't have that responsibility behind you of, I got to feed 3 kids and I have a house and a mortgage to pay and, to take care of my wife or spouse or whatever it is, then you know what? You don't need a plan B. Right. If you fall flat on your face, great, pick up yourself and go and do that again. Well, when you have a family, you have to have a fallback plan. You can't go without a safety net. You can't go and I'm going full bore, blindly into this, and
Did you ever give it up?
Yeah.
There was a period of time when you had kids, right?
I had kids and stopped playing. The hardest thing I ever had to do in my life was go and knock on Ernie White's door and say I got to leave the band. Hardest thing I had to do in my life, But I was at a time in my career where it was like, I can go to the gig tonight. I've just been on the road for a week with my day job. I came home Friday night. I went and did a gig and slept till 3 o'clock the next night, and then played a gig Saturday night and got up and crawled into the couch and all day Sunday, and then Monday I was on the road again. I didn't see my family. I didn't see my kids. So that was my priority then. That's what was most important to me. Make sure that I can see some of the stuff that I missed enough, first steps and first words and all that stuff. I didn't want to do that anymore. So something had to give. I was at a spot in my career where it wasn't, the music was the thing that had to sit by the wayside for a little while,
And that happens to a lot. It happened to me when my son was born. Just before my son was born, I stopped playing.
Yeah.
And I put it down for about 12 years. No, about 10 years.
Yeah.
And I started playing again because I wanted to buy my now ex-wife. I wanted to buy her a convertible for her 40th birthday, and I thought, I'm the only income, because she had become a stay-at-home parent when my son was born, and I'm thinking I'm not going to be able to pull that off. Let me start playing again.
Right. Right.
And I always made sure though that I was playing 3 Saturday nights a month.
Mm-hmm.
But I always made sure that the gigs were 9 o'clock or later. My kids were still. My son was 10.
Right.
So, he'd be in bed by whatever, 10 o'clock on the weekend.
Exactly.
My daughter was 6 or 7, so she'd be asleep even earlier. So, I would sneak out, and every now and then, the ex-wife, we'd get a babysitter. She'd come out.
Right.
Never realizing that the money I was earning was going towards that type of thing. Right. But that's how I got back into it. But I could tell you this, that 10 years that I stopped playing, I made everybody happy but me.
Right. Yeah,
I'd look at my drums and I'd be like, oh, man, I got dust on them. I'd have to go over there and clean them off. And I'm thinking, no, that's not the way it used to be, Yeah. So you do things for your family and for your purpose.
Yeah, listen, like I said, you got to sacrifice. You got to make a sacrifice when you have a family and you have people that you're responsible for. So
that's the key
was
word.
The thing
responsible for.
You got to be responsible.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I wish I could remember that phrase. If you need a plan B, then you'll never accomplish plan A.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
the whole
listen,
purpose was fear being the factor to motivate you.
Exactly. That's you're never going to be. Well, listen, it's easy to go, to wake up in the morning, in the situation I'm in right now, and do nothing, and then go play my gig at night, But I get up and then I do the housework. And then, run a load of laundry and then sit down and try to do something in the studio or, get on Facebook, do some promotion, do some things. So every day, that was the one thing. Every day I want to do something musically. Whether it's a promotion thing, whether it's recording something, whether it's rehearsing something for a solo gig or, learning parts for the next show that I have coming up. Always wanted to do something musically during the course of the day. And then also help out around the house and be responsible for that as well.
Sure, you got right, especially if now your wife is going to work every day. Well, that's the hour, Mark. We're going to get ready so you can play. Actually,
that flew by.
Thank you so much for coming down and.
It was really a pleasure.
Sitting
Thank you
with
guys
us.
for the crew, everybody. It's awesome. Looking forward to Danish and pizza later.
That's right. Discussing the your new disc, Just Me. What are you going to do? Are you going to do some stuff off of it, or?
I'm going to do a song. I'm gonna do a portion of a song off of the disc.
Okay. Well, you can do one or two, whatever you want. We
gonna
want to
do
satisfy Kelly Meyernick and
I'm
Mayor.
gonna do one. She's gonna come out to the Scrumper Joe
and Mayor.
and they're gonna come out to the Scrumper Joe gig and hear their song same
there
time
you
next
go.
year that we wrote in high school.
Okay, well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in also. And while you're getting ready, I'm going to talk about Mario because that's what I do at this time of the night. And, look at that. Tom's all ready for me over here. Hello there, Tom. How are you, buddy? Did you recover from that incident earlier in the program? Good. I like to hear that. Monmouth Music is located in the center of historic Red Bank. Established in 1987. For the last 30 years, Monmouth Music has served the local and traveling musician with brand name instruments and accessories at everyday low prices. Monmouth Music also welcomes aspiring musicians of all levels with a broad selection of affordable instruments, including school orchestra instruments for both sale and rental. Monmouth Music provides student lessons from their long-tenured music teaching staff. In addition to providing brand-name instruments and complete lesson plans for students of all levels, Monmouth Music is home to Bob Pinto's Guitar Hospital, specializing in string instrument repairs. There's also an in-house professional amplifier repair service by BP Electronics. Monmouth Music is owner-operated, which ensures you will get professional and personal service every day. Come to Red Bank, New Jersey, and visit Monmouth Music. You won't be disappointed. And just like right now, I know you won't be disappointed with our man Mark Sacco. Again, thank you, Mark, for coming down this evening to see us. And it's all you, buddy.
Thank you.
Woke up this morning with a feeling in my head. Can't change the way I feel, I can't change the things you've said. Looking straight ahead, I can't see anything for me. Think it's time you finally set me free. Set me free, gonna be the man that I can be. Set me free, gonna change my place in history. It don't make much sense to anyone I know. How can you erase the past, move on and up and go? But it's my last chance to see if there's light beyond the walls. I know this time I'll run before I crawl. Set me free, gotta be the man that I can be. Set me free, gonna change my place in history. Thank you.
You got one more or no?
No, I'm gonna be done for tonight.
Danny's over there checking his phone. He's like, oh, wait, I got a
That's
minute yet.
fine. That's fine. And, where are we at? Here or here? Which camera? Over here? That one in the middle, or we'll go right there in the middle. All right. Again, Mark Sacco. It's just me on Mark Sacco Records.
Actually, yeah, Mark Sacco Music.
Mark Sacco
Yeah.
Music. There you go. Thank you guys and everyone for tuning in. And Mark, thank you again. Thank you, Mario.
Appreciate it, Danny.
Thanks to everyone for checking out One More with Danny Coleman. Next week we have, who do we have next week? What is the date? We're Ghosts Now. Oh yeah, that's who it is. That's right. We're Ghosts Now. It's a band. I had to think about that. I thought he was telling me we were shut off
You were
already.
getting some kind of production instructions.
right.
We're ghosts now.
No more smell.
All right, everybody. Thank you once again. Until next week when we bring you one more. See ya.
Awesome, bro.